I'm Jason Hoffman. My goal is to help you have the confidence to just press go live. Of all the communication I receive through my channel email, the most common question I receive is, what do you recommend? Now, there are many things that folks would like recommended to them because they've either run across a problem that needs to be solved or they're simply trying to level up their live stream. So today I'd like to show you the 3 most common recommendations that I make through channel email. When I first started streaming baseball games in 2018, I did like everybody else. I hung a camera behind home plate, I pressed go live, and let it be whatever it was. I was still doing public address announcing at the ball field where my high school boys play, and so the product that I was able to put in front of parents was what it is. And they were very appreciative of the opportunity to get to watch from at home. But as I went through the season and I began to deal with windy days or sunny days or the issues of crowd noise and all the things that are going to go wrong with a baseball stream, I knew that come the following year, if I was still streaming, there'd be some changes that needed to be made. There'd be some upgrades I would need to do in order to make a better live stream for the folks that watched at home. In the fall of 2018, the University Interscholastic League in Texas still owned the rights to all football games, so we were not allowed to stream. However, I was able to do some basketball that season, and by the time baseball rolled around, I had some upgrades I had already come up with for my live stream. So what began as just putting the camera back there and letting it shoot whatever happens on the field kind of morphed into some basic over-the-shoulder scoreboards. And then the following year we had some lower third player cards, an on-base, outs, and inning kind of bug in the shoulder. All things that I could do through the original Mevo software. It wasn't easy to get to those graphics the way it is in multicam now, but it worked for the time being. And each year, as we've moved forward, and then through COVID, and now to where we are today, there are so many great options for the stream to be as great a product as possible for your at-home audience. But there are still some things that just need to be addressed in the realm of live streaming. Before I get into the recommendations I make through channel emails about different products to help liven up or level up a live stream, I do want to say that I build my baseball live stream around the Mevo Start camera. It is the standard for streaming baseball games. Because of its small footprint, hanging it on the fence does not intrude in people's view. Because of its battery life, you're able to stream an entire game and not have to worry about whether the battery is going to run out or not. Charging in between games can be an effective way. Or you can add a power bank to it and you can keep the battery topped off the entire time you are streaming. The first recommendation that I'm asked about most often is, what microphone would you suggest using so that you get game sound at home? It's great to be able to see what the kids are doing on base, but if there's no game noises, then you kind of miss part of the experience. So my recommendation for a mini shotgun mic just to catch game sounds has been and continues to be the Rode Video Micro. Now, this little mini shotgun camera comes with the most important piece, and that's the wind muff, the dead cat, because wind is such an issue with streaming baseball games. And it's not that the Mevo Start has poor microphones on it. It just has poor ability to diffuse wind. Some folks will wrap a sock or a wristband around the microphone section, maybe even use some athletic tape and tape some cotton balls around it just to kill that wind noise and still let some of the sound come through. But this is probably the best option that I know of for catching game sounds and a little bit of isolating crowd specifics. Now, if it's a quiet game and there's not a whole lot of folks there, you're going to hear that mom or dad that just rails on the umpire. Their voice is going to carry throughout the infield, and you can't avoid that. But if there's a little bit of noise to drown everything else out with, this actually drowns a lot of what's behind it out because of its cardioid pattern. So the Rode Video Micro comes with this handy coiled camera cord. It's going to have a TRS connection on each end. And that's going to allow you to plug from the end of the microphone directly into the back of the Mevo Start. And that's going to be a great way to catch crowd noises at your live stream games. The second most requested recommendation I received through channel email is about the power bank. How do you power those devices that will run down between games or even during a game? And the one that I recommend the most, the one that I have had the best success out of, the one that has given me the best service is the ElectJet Apollo 10,000 milliamp power bank. Now the reason this one is my go-to every time, it's the one I do not let my daughter borrow because I don't get those back within a reasonable amount of time. This particular power bank is going to recharge when I've run it to 0%. It's going to recharge with a rapid charger in less than 30 minutes. I've recharged this battery from 0 to 100% in 27 minutes. And I've seen folks take this same one and even lower that number. So in between games, this is going to recharge fully and then go back to doing the lion's work of charging all of your devices. The USB-C port is going to give you 65 watts of power if that's the only port you're using. The USB-A port is going to give you 18 watts of power, and either one of those ports is going to be enough to power or charge whatever devices you have in your live stream. It is a little bit expensive at $79 depending on what kind of sales are being run. However, it is worth having the ability to charge rapidly in between games. And the third recommendation I make about products to make sure your live stream comes off without a hitch is about heat protection. And the question is always, what do you do to keep your cameras from shutting down when they're in direct sunlight? Now, this little camera, wonderful a feel as that is with that soft touch finish on it, it's really kind of velvety. I love it. However, it soaks up heat like a snake laying on the highway. And it cannot dissipate heat fast enough to keep this from shutting down as the sun shines on it and the temperatures soar up toward the 90s. It just can't keep up. So the ability to keep this in the shade or to protect it from absorbing the sun's heat is an important part of keeping your live stream active. And there are a lot of solutions. There are many folks that have gotten really creative about how to keep this in the shade, from those hard hat looking shades that they'll hang over the fence to a Chick-fil-A cup cut out the back and just kind of socked over it to keep it in the shade. And those are solutions that do in fact shade the camera itself. However, it greatly increases this profile. And to hang that on a fence where folks are trying to look through and watch the game, to me, is somewhat intrusive. I don't want a hard hat sized shade around this camera. I want to keep that footprint, that profile, as small as possible. So the solution that I offer them is actually one that I designed and print. It is a white to make sure that I have the reflective properties that I want. Printed heat shield. Now it's going to slide on both the front and the back of your Mevo Start. It's going to be a nice snug fit so that if you take a tumble, you don't have to worry about this. I believe I just turned that camera on. You don't have to worry about this flying off. Matter of fact, I have my Mevo Start labeled with this vinyl, and that is enough to keep me from being able to slide this on without a little bit of effort. And so what you will see when you get this all the way on is that the gap closes and you are protected side and top from the sun's heat by a reflective surface. And it also allows for some airflow in between. Now, the great thing about this one is, two great things about it, is that it's going to only minimally increase the footprint the profile of what the Mevo Start already is. It's only a couple of millimeters longer, it's only a few millimeters taller or wider, and it's going to allow air to flow in between the top and the top of the camera just because of the way it's designed. It also includes 3 cold shoe mounts, so that microphone we were talking about using earlier can just slide right on top or on the side and still be able to mount up close to a fence, so you're peeking right through the chain link. It works like a charm. Been using that for a couple of years. Been selling it now for a little while through my merchandise page that's linked in the description below. What about you? What is your recommendation to make a live stream more successful? Level it up to make it better for the at-home audience. Leave me an answer in the comments below.